Another section is a race class. Now, as a punter, you need to decide what sort of class of race you're going to bet in. If you think you can bet in every type of class of race and be successful at it, you're dreaming. If you're going to bet on 2-year-olds, you need to concentrate on speed, because most of the 2-year-old races are 1200 metres or less. Towards the end of the season, you get the 1400s and the occasional 1600, like the Gibson Carmichael and a couple of other races. But generally speaking, it's about speed. So if you're going to do 2-year-old races, you need to do speed, you need to watch the barrier trials, and you need to do a fair bit of guessing, because I think a lot of 2-year-old racing is guessing. However, you do have some outstanding 2-year-olds that are obviously quite good bets. 3-year-olds, another major problem area on the punt as far as I'm concerned. The main problem with 3-year-olds is the fact that they're changing distances constantly. Every trainer and owner of a horse that's a 3-year-old wants to win the Derby, whether it be the Victoria Derby or whether it be the AJC Derby in the autumn. Each one of them wants to test their horse out over longer distances. If you start punting on horses on what they might do over a longer distance, you're going to lose, because some horses will let you down badly. They'll have a distance range and that's it. They can't go any further. And if you're going to be backing 7-4, 2-1 favourites on what they might do over a particular distance that they've never started at before, you're looking for trouble on the punt. So consequently, I'm not a big fan of 3-year-old races, and especially not derbies and those sort of distance races. The best races to bet on are obviously the open company events. These are the horses that are 4-year-olds and upwards. The typical Walters, your Group 1 handicaps. Most times you know the horses quite well. They've probably had 20 odd starts. You've got a bit of a profile about them. You understand where they're coming from. You know what they're capable of usually. The exceptions, of course, are the young improving ones who you just can't quite get the handle on them until they've had another couple of runs perhaps. You know, it's very hard with the improving ones. But once a horse has had around about 30 starts, you've got a pretty good handle on what he can and can't do, and it's very rare that a horse past 30 starts does dramatic improvement in its race career. You usually found out what it can do by then. The best open type races are obviously the weight for age races, because the handicapper has no say in them whatsoever. So therefore the best horses are at an advantage. They're not handicapped out of races. So a horse like Farlap racing against a maiden, both the same age, will both carry the same weight. And it's fairly obvious that Farlap would beat the maiden carrying the same weight. That just makes sense. So as a punter, if you were interested in backing lots of winners, you need to be looking at weight for age races. The drawback with weight for age races though, there are two major drawbacks. One is price. Because the best horses are usually quite well known, everybody knows that they're the best horses, consequently they do command a fair bit of the betting. So quite often the best horses are going to be pretty short odds. The other problem with weight for age races is that quite often they're run at a dawdling pace, because the horses have a particular style of running. They take it easy and then they go home for a sprint home. So you'll often find results in weight for age races that surprise you, and 9 times out of 10 it'll be something in front stealing the race, where the better horses were sort of sitting back waiting to make their run. So they're the two major problems in weight for age races, but nevertheless they're still the best races to bet in. The other type of race class that's a real problem are the mares races. Now, over the years I've had massive problems with mares races, basically because there's a mixture of form. They're either racing against mares themselves one week, or the following week they're racing against open company, then they're back to mares again, and then there's the shuffling of distances. In the finish, you get lost with mares races very quickly. The only real exceptions would be some of the special weights races where mares get weighted on what they've done as opposed to in handicap conditions. So be very wary of mares races. If you're going to bet in them, only bet in the special weights ones, and there's a few weight for age ones around the country as well.